Masters Maniac Mexico!
Hello and welcome back to my little universe of toys and action figures, where the world and its values are still 100% in order. Well, today I just want to take you for a quick look with me because I had some questions of my subscribers of this little channel uh, about Mexican bootlegs, especially Masters of the Universe. Well, in one of my recent videos, I was presenting some new purchases that I recently made if it's coming to Masters of the Universe Mexican bootlegs, and therefore people came forward to me asking if I got more Mexican bootlegs that I can present to you. Well, and here is the whole collection of Mexican bootlegs, Masters of the Universe wise, that I own, and I just want to give you a quick look. This is not going to be a presentation of the figures at the detail. We're not going to talk detailed about all the figures. I just gonna present them to you quickly, give you a quick look, tell you where they're coming from, what they're about, and that's it. Well, because most of the figures I already gave a review and you can look it on the channel, and others are about to come. If you want to see a special review, you just let me know and I'm going to do that with a lot of pleasure. So let's start in a chronological matter. We're going to start with the 80s, with the bootlegs that come right away from the 80s, so the knockoffs of the original vintage Masters of the Universe figure series. I think the guy that points out the most is that red Skeletor here. Well, all the Skeletors are 100% copy of the original mold. There's nothing that I've changed. The height is the same. They just gave a sturdy position, which means you cannot move the head, you cannot move the legs. The only two parts that you can move in all these bootlegs from the 80s, today it's way different, as we will see as well, to the 80s, is these 4 points of movement, the arms up and down, and no, 3 points of movement and the hip to turn. Well, they came in a couple of colors around, and today they are very, very difficult to find. Even more difficult if they come with the full armor set. If we can see it here, the Skeletor never came with a sword in Mexico, well, at least the bootleg not. And so, according to being Mexican bootleg, this figure is complete, right? The red is one of the rarer colors, but for my big disgrace, well, this figure is pretty much played up, right? So the color of the face is damaged hardly. There's hardly any color on the breast chest anymore. The feet, well, this has been played roughly. So I can be happy that the weapon set is still there. And that's what I can say about these 80s red Skeletor. I also have the same Skeletor form in a violet, in a kind of violet that we can see here. It's the violet Skeletor that I would say, from the color that it presents here, it comes maybe the closest to the original figure. Well, we have a discussion about that because there's another figure that I can present you. Well, this figure is the most common one of all of them. There are also two transparents around that you hardly cannot find, but this is the most common that you can find. It is also complete. It comes with a red set of armors. So it is just a color difference that we have here. Havoc Staff is shorter than the original Havoc Staff, I guess, in order to save plastic. As simple as it is. Well, we can see a little bit of a more paint in this figure here. So silver chest paint, not golden with this. Silver is still there. And a lot of the face paint is also still there. It is visible that this has been played, but not that rough as the other one. Let's have a thing mentioned here just by the way, because I think it's interesting. You can see in that mold and in the others that they simply took a copy, right? They simply took a copy. What you see here is the closure of the armor of the breast that we had it in the 80s. No, in the 80s the armor was removable in the Mattel figures. but here obviously it's just a part of the same mold, and they put a plastic all over it without being worried to make a separate mold for the breast armor here. They just made it one part. But as we can see here, very good in the sculpting of the head. Well, otherwise it's a 100% knockoff. Let's say it like this, and that's what you can say about this figure. As I said, the most common one. Well, here's the most rarest of all of them. Here they call him the blue Skeletor, and the rarest that I have. The two transparent ones are still more rare, but this one is really hard to find. So hard to find that it became a desirable collectionable object here in Mexico many years ago. And I can consider myself really lucky to have this figure in such sensational situation, I was about to say, state, that we can look at him here, because there was a typical failure that Mexican bootlegs of the 60s, 70s, and 80s had. The paint job was pretty bad, and it usually has been car paint or anything like this that I have been using, and it rubbed off the plastic very, very quickly. So this figure, regarding that, has his full golden armor, almost no paint legs in the face, painted eyes, still paint, golden paint on the head and on the back, is just a sensation. Just a traditional gripping point, right? Yeah, well, there we almost have no color, but for what it is in its sensational state, and it's an absolutely rare figure, and I really love it. Now you tell me, is it the blue or is it the violet one that you consider to be more close to the original color? Well, let's pass on. In the back you can already see a taller guy. This is a Mexican bootleg from the 200X series. It's missing its complete armor and the sword that we can see here. Yes, it is an original 200X sword, but I bought it separately a couple of days ago, literally on the flea market for 10 pesos, right? So I just stuck it into his hand. Let's have a look at this guy here. Here he comes. Well, even the armor set is missing. The mold was pretty massive and pretty nicely made at these ages already. No, so we see the 20 years of advancement that Mexican bootleg had. Even if the face is kind of mummy-like shrink back, I consider this to be a pretty reasonable, reincarnation of what we call the 200X Skeletor. This is a complete different case. As you can see, this figure has a lot of moving points. This actually comes with the same amount of moving points than the original figure came. Also, it is a proof for the development that the Mexican bootleg made in the last 20 years. Well, the under armor and the knee plates are still here. They are well made. It's a soft plastic that is kind of the same, a little bit more stiff maybe than the plastic that we are used to have in the original figures. Well, the mold is very well made, as well in the armors from the front to the back. Just a really reasonable action figure. And what I love the most about this figure here, a Mexican bootleg 200X series, is the metallic plastic that the whole figure is made in. And it's not a painting. No, the whole figure is made out of this. It's a big chunk of blue metallic shiny plastic that still after 20 years stands there in a pretty good way. So although it's a rare guy, I really like him. There he stands again. There we go again, right? So what comes next? Oh, I almost forgot the two He-Mans that I also have from the 80s series, so 80s bootleg He-Man with a red sword. Yeah, pretty nicely painted still. Has some rough ups. This one, the other one is a little bit better. But, well, let's say the interesting thing about this He-Man is not the figure itself, because it's a 100% copy, just in cheap, of the original He-Man. It is the sword. The sword you can find in many different colors, and that is one of the things. Yeah, you can see the other He-Man in the back has the yellow one. We will bring him close. And well, there's another thing. There has been absolutely no sword, no power sword in the 18 Mexican bootleg being made that is male. All of them are female. There's absolutely not a single male sword. They never took the skeletal part of the sword to make a joinable a solution there. No, there's a millions of them out of there, but there are only female ones, and it has never been different. So kind of an interesting story. Well, kind of free interpretation if it comes to the armor. It comes in a green here, right? Yeah, but that's the He-Man, and the only difference that the guy has to the other guy is that this guy is slightly better painted, and it has the power sword in yellow, which is the only difference. This power sword also is female, right? So absolutely never any male swords. I don't know what they have been trying to tell us in the 80s by doing this. I suppose nothing. I suppose nothing. Well, guys, let's turn on and come to the next round. And there we will have a very quick overview about some figures that I have been presenting in a reasonable video of pickups. That they come all together in a 5-pack of figures in a bag of He-Man figures. These are molds that came from the 80s. They all already have been around. I know that, but that you couldn't find them anymore, and that they recently came up with a reproduction of the same molds. Let's start with the He-Man. It's a minifigure. If you can compare him here, slightly in the height to the original. Yeah, the original, although small, is still like 3 to 4 centimeters bigger, right? Minifigures. Here we come with a sword. You can take it out of the hand. Nicely painted. Face look like a I don't know what on crack, but okay. It has moving points, has the armor here in the back that can be taken off and given to him. It moves the arms, it moves the head, it moves the hips, it moves the legs. So for a minifigure, a reasonable amount of motion points, let's say. And I really like him. Here comes the Battle Cat with it, original 80s style, right? They didn't take a new mold, literally they did nothing to the mold, not to the painting. I think they have been changing the plastic to green transparent plastic, as we can see it here. What I really like, yeah, in the Battle Cat, you can take off the mask and make him cringer, although this is a pretty much of an aggressive cringer, isn't it? But well, you can do that. It can do, if it doesn't fall down, it can also easily be applied again, and we have the full 80s Battle Cat look, where I find that the armor is really well made. Yeah, absolutely original style. So then we got that Orko, a little bit more stiffy, transparent, but yeah, transparent red plastic. This is an object that I really like. I think this is very well made, and more than that, it comes with light, which is the best about it. So we have this light button here on the bottom that even has a couple of functions, and you're gonna kick it, giving a magical effect. He looks a little fat. Well, maybe they gave him a little bit too much of Eternian chocolate. Otherwise, in colors, in molds, form, really nice little Mexican bootleg. So here is the Lord of the Evil, Skeletor himself. Same height as He-Man, very nicely made mold. A little bit, yeah, it remembers a little bit to the pocket figures that we have seen a couple of years ago from Super 7. Yeah, the Havoc stuff, the bonehead of the Havoc stuff, as well as the face of Skeletor, are painted in a glow-in-the-dark paint. Yeah, moving points are the same. Really nice mold, as you can see, absolutely nothing lacking. Completely clearly identifiable as the Lord of the Evil Skeletor himself. He can get hold on his weapon very easily. It's good. And there we come with his Panther, well, absolutely same mold than we have seen with the Battle Cat. Only difference is here the color of the plastic, which comes in a really nice purplish transparent plastic. This guy is really looking nice. And the armor is not green, not dark green, not olive green. It's black. It's black as a whole, and it's really, really nice. I even think this is looking better than the original color. If I can get hold on two of the Origins Panthers that are not flocked, I will try to give it a modification, at least with one of the armors, trying to make it look that black, because I really think that is a good solution. Well, almost done. Let's come to this tall guy over here. Well, this huge guy here, yeah, is one of the newer molds. I have him around 2 years. It's around 2 years that this mold of a He-Man, I think orientated in what are the Mondo figures, popped up here in the Mexican market. Well, what to say, popped up in the Mexican market. Literally, I have seen this guy only one time in my whole and the whole time that I spent on markets and looking for toys. And this was not in my state, so. And at the stand where I found it, he had two of them, and I bought both of them. This is 2 years ago, a little bit more even, and since then I've never seen them again. One of this mold, it's on the way to Germany, literally. So I really like this figure. It's big, it's chunky, it's nicely designed. It has a lot of moving points, arms, wrists, elbows, head. Yeah, it is all there. It has 10 moving points here. This figure comes with this really chunky made power sword that I really nice. It's an interpretation, but as well as we told it with the Skeletor, it's clearly to be identified. What I like the most about this mold, that it comes with the classical Iron Cross here. I don't think that there is any experiments to be needed. That is a good design, and it always has been. This guy is the tallest, and it's also heavy, orientated, I guess, into what is Mondo doing, although this must be a ridiculous talk down of Mondos to those who are collecting these fantastic figures. I think this is where they took inspiration for this mold from, right? So it's a tall guy, as you can see him here, related to the original height of the vintage figures. Here, the 200X bootleg, and this guy still brings you with easily 5 centimeters higher than the Skeletor. So there we go. There's only one thing missing. Yeah, the newest form of Mexican Masters of the Universe bootlegs that I was able to find, and that I really love to collect, because more and more characters come up, and they're made in Mexico, which is also a thing that I really can appreciate, are these Lego-like minifigures. Well, I just will pass them through quickly so that you can take a quick look at them, and yeah, you can tell me later what you think about them. Here we come with Skeletor, sword and Havoc staff, nicely made, really nice guy. His first servant, Beastman, comes with the whip. Is nicely printed. Nothing here are stickers. Mexican bootleg. Greetings to Lego that this cannot be done in a price-worthy way. We come here with Evelyn with her magic staff, with her wand, crystal wand. Whoa! Can you keep standing, please? Yeah. That is Faker. Right. There we go with Mr. Trapjaw. Yeah. We got Merman with his coral sword. Is for the minifigures my favorite. I really think this is a really nice solution, and they're looking so distinct from what are the Mega Bloks minis, because I also have the Mega Bloks minis, and well, they're far more advanced, but being a Mexican bootleg, this He-Man comes with a full set sword, axe, and arm shield. It's already good. Even in the back there's a muscle print on He-Man. We have really nice He-Man here. So Tila with the snake armor, which also means that we can make her easily Tila and Goddess. Yeah, nice, really nice little mini staff that she has here, Cobra staff. Many faces that, yes, presents you 3 faces, and even comes with a small gun. We got Stratos. We got Rami, as I like to call him, Ram Man, which is the most, it's the chubbiest solution, let's say. We have Man at Arms, where I think for what it is, they found a really nice solution. It also comes with his fighting club here. And finally, my favorite figure so far from the Lego mini collection, the Sorceress. She comes very, very detailed. Look just at the helmet. It's all very nicely painted. The face is really nicely painted. The imprintment is really detailed. This is a genius figure for what it is. I just love it. Well, and that's it. That is all of Masters of the Universe Mexican bootleg, knockoff, robbery, whatever you want to call it, that at this point of my collection is in my belongings. I am very keen to hear about your opinions. I would love to listen what you think about these figures. Do you like them? Don't you like them? Is there anything that you want to see further about Mexican bootlegs? Tell me your opinion. If you like what you see, why don't you hit the subscribe button, please? It helps me a lot. You can hit the bell so that you will get remembered on anything that is going on this channel, in our little toy universe here. And well, if you want to give me a like or write a comment, I answer to everything. I'm keen of what you're thinking about the Mexican bootlegs. And with this, the Masters Maniac is out.
Masters Maniac Mexico.